started here. My name's that guy, Craig Patterson, in small print. It's nice to be here with SWNAHRO, and I see a few familiar faces. It's always wonderful to see. In addition, my wife is back here, my majority owner since 1978 when I started handing her my lunch money. She's now my CFO, and as long as I'm not hungry, that works, right? It's a real pretty bottom line with us. Well, it's nice to see so many of you here. It's nice to be here. We're going to take a survey. How many of you have ever used a Slido before? We're going to use a Slido. By the way, that QR code comes up. If you want to get in touch with me, if you have questions, you should have questions, okay? And I'll give a little bit of background. But my goal is to make this technical presentation not technical, okay? This technical presentation not technical. Because understanding is more important than technical know-how. Wouldn't you agree? All right. How many of you still have a rotary phone? Raise your hand. Did rotary phones work? I could dial in the dark when I was trying to get her in high school, right? Okay, and I knew everybody's phone number in my head. But now I have a smartphone and a dumb brain to some degree. Wouldn't you agree? Okay. So we're going to take a survey, and the way I had to do this is I brought my Mac and I have a PC. We do IT for people also, and believe it or not, Macs are easier than PCs. That's a fact. That's why businesses use PCs. Okay? But what we're going to do is I'm going to put a slide presentation up and a QR code. This QR code will allow us to get some feedback, but what I had to do is I had to patch into my Mac to get certain things to show up on here because that's just the way it is. But we make it work, okay? We'll make it work no matter what. So now I'm going to bring up, hopefully, slides for here. So give me just a second. And what it'll allow us to do is really get the questions going on our Slido live poll here. Because getting feedback, how many of you have used ChatGPT? Raise your hand. Okay, how many of you were impressed? Yeah, all right. So as I'm bringing up, the other thing is the internet's running a little slow. They're going to make it easy for me here. See, no internet. Keeps going back and forth, but let me find a way to log in here. And then my computer has to recognize my face. And in the dark, that's not always easy because it has AI. All right, here we go. Okay, thank you. Now we can get something going here. And present. So if you could, scan this QR code. It's going to allow you to participate in this live survey. Okay? There's the QR code. I'll get my big head out of the way. Use your camera. When the little button turns yellow, tap it. I think we're all getting accustomed to QR codes nowadays, aren't we? Okay? And if you can't do that, you can join at slido.com. That come up for everybody okay? Good enough? All right, excellent, excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look. Oh, all right, we got some participants responding already. And here we go. So as those answers start populating, imagine if you did this with your residents. Imagine if you took a live poll at a community meeting. Slido is good for that. So as you start answering, 6 participants responding. Oh, look at that. I know it's tough when you can only pick one, right? Because it's like all of them are good. Uh-oh. Some people had second thoughts. This is the world we live in today. Okay, so we're going to talk about this when we go through. Which area do you think AI could have the biggest positive impact? Do we kind of agree? So I walk in front of the projector. That administrative, answering client questions, needs at work. How many have ever seen a TV show where a hero had an AI that followed them around and gave them information? Okay? You guys remember Knight Rider? Right? Car could access things and do things. We've got some clips from Star Trek, 1968, when a computer started to take over the Enterprise and destroy things and people around it, and it got its way. Anybody remember 2001: Space Odyssey for all of you older people, right? And then we have The Matrix for younger people, right? And we've got a DJ. No, don't worry. Hey, you're going to keep us hopping. You're going to keep us hopping. Okay. All of these different things we're going to show. The reason I didn't put together a PowerPoint is because I hate them. I hate people to read to me, so I'm going to show you some things. Okay? And don't be afraid to ask questions. I love to teach. So let's go to the next question. If it allows me to. When it came in, the projector didn't work. Okay, 74%. This is an interest. In your current role, are you or your team using any form of artificial intelligence? That's okay. That's honesty. That's honesty. We use it probably more in our private life than anywhere else. I attended a class put on by the Nigerian government, teaching its students and others coming to the United States how to use AI to maximize benefits in public housing before they got here. Okay? Why? They don't have time to figure it out. So they have AIs that will put them on the waiting list everywhere in the country so they can sublet apartments. I'm not joking. Okay? All right, very good. Does this surprise anybody? All right, let's go to the next one. Is this of interest to anybody? Staff training and readiness, data privacy and security, 45%. What's the next one? Okay. Data privacy, risk of bias. We'll go to 4. Document processing. Anybody have a paper problem? Not enough paper in your life? We can send you some. We can make sure that that happens. All right. Let's get to what this is all about. Chat GPT, okay? And another technical term I'm going to use, very technical, language model. Which language would you like me to teach or show this class in? Can we all vote on English? Okay. In college, I got, at the University of California, Berkeley, 1,000 people in my science class. I got voted out because 800 Chinese citizens wanted to talk in Chinese, and I had to change classes at an American university. Okay? Now, why is that important? What does it have to do with today? Language models are important. If you don't remember anything else, remember LM, language model. That lets you know that a certain amount of data is stored in your language. ChatGPT 4.0 was updated with everything in English through February 2025. Anything after February 2025 is in ChatGPT 4.5. Okay? So as data keeps coming, it happens faster. How many of you have ever had to go to your files and figure out who has been exposed to lead-based paint? Now, I've worked on site. I've done it all, pretty much in housing, okay? A language model is a tenant file. A tenant file is a language model about that client ID, all right? This right here is an executive assistant. I'm going to go to a tool that if you like ChatGPT, you're really going to love this. Okay, you're really going to love this. Notebook LM. What does the LM stand for? We got it. So imagine if you could build a notebook of your own. Okay? An AI just about you. My wife and I loaded all of our taxes for the last 10 years in Notebook LM and had it perform an audit. And be scary. And it found some things. How about this? We loaded in a different language model 20,000 tenant files from a client who just went paperless and had it do an audit and identify which certification clerks were overlooking paperwork consistently. And it broke it down by person, by form in 45 seconds. Oh, okay. How about that? Language model. Notebook LM allows you to build a language model, and I really hope I can show this. And so let's talk about the Lafayette Housing Authority. Okay? I loaded the HUD 7460.8 Part 2 because this executive director needed help with procurement. So they needed a procurement expert. I also loaded their housing authority procurement policy. I also loaded and had it referenced, cross-referenced weekly every website in their state with regards to government procurement. And had it load procurements for the things that they wanted to piggyback on. Do you think that would be helpful? Absolutely helpful. As a matter of fact, if I ask any question down here, and the resolution is terrible, I can ask any question down here, and it'll pick it up. Now, my Mac, it had a mic, and I could talk to it. And I let it talk back to me in my wife's voice, because I always do what she tells me, right? This is the training. It's the electroshock therapy. It works. It works. Okay? So, but let's notice this. The Lafayette Housing Authority, I'm going to go to another one. How many of you have had to do briefings? Housing choice voucher. You do it the exact same way all the time. How many languages can you do in it? What hours of the day can you do in it? Let's go to AI in public housing. And over here, it says create an audio overview of this language model and turn it into a radio broadcast. Let's do it right in front of you. I'm going to click right here. Audio overview. And it's going to work. Somebody start counting. Okay, how long would it take you to put a radio broadcast together? Okay, how much procurement would it take? How many hours? What do you want to talk about? Make sure you follow the policy. Make sure you follow the procedure. Oh, it's done. Let's see if we can hear it and listen to it, okay? I'll try to turn it up and hope the internet's working good enough.
Using a stack of sources you've shared, focusing on some key upcoming events.
That's right. We've got material here outlining activities from NAHRO, that's the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials, and we're really going to unpack the agenda for one of their big regional conferences.
Exactly. So think of this deep dive as, well, getting a quick, insightful read on what's currently top of mind for professionals in this sector. We're using the Southwest NAHRO annual conference agenda as our lens.
Yeah, we'll look at the structure, the key topics, and what it tells us about priorities right now.
And the sources pinned down the key details for us. It's the 85th annual conference.
Right, happening in Rogers, Arkansas. That's June 10th to the 13th, 2025.
At the Embassy Suites Northwest specifically.
Yep, got the address right here.
Okay, so let's jump in then. What does this agenda reveal about the shape of the event? What kind of learning opportunities are planned?
And what themes are sort of emerging just from the session titles alone?
Well, first maybe the practicalities. Getting there, getting settled.
Good place to start. The sources give the exact hotel, Embassy Suites Northwest, 33303 South Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers.
And they make it pretty clear that,
All right,
you know,
wait,
registering in advance is important.
Let's try something here. I want
Oh,
to.
hey, I think our listeners got something to say.
What time did the first session start?
Oh, hey there, welcome.
Thanks for joining in. What's on your mind?
Okay, let's see, you just jumped in.
We were just about to dive into the agenda.
Looking at the SWNAHRO conference,
So what sparked your,
maybe something we just said.
Well,
perhaps a general thought about housing?
Let us know what you're thinking.
We're happy.
Yep, go on.
well, I'm interested in the parts on AI. Is Craig Patterson delivering anything?
That's a great question.
Excellent timing.
Yes, Ambassador C. Craig Patterson is indeed presenting.
And guess what? It's about AI.
The session is titled AI's Impact on PHA Operations.
PHA is for...
Okay. Now, what do you guys think of that? Isn't that pretty good? Okay. Suppose you did that for your ACOP. All you have to do is upload it to the library as a resource, click Start Audio Broadcast, but suppose you need it in 5 languages. You can just have auto translate. Okay? Is that not worth just being here all of Zoom? Okay. But now, what do we have? I hate the resolution here. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to try. But what this allows me to do is I can select or unselect sources and do it again. And do it again. And do it again. What's the difference between this and ChatGPT? This is a private AI. It's not shared with ChatGPT. That's why they put my taxes on ChatGPT. Right? Okay? Yeah, so one of the keys when it comes to AI is security. For example, should everybody be able to ask any question about your tenant files? No. So the proper AI also makes sure that you have to have password access to the file in order to ask a question about it. Okay? So we put out things like DocuWare, there's other tools out there, Laserfiche, that can refine a data search just to the data you have access to. Okay? By property. That's the nature of AI. Why? Because data is growing so fast. We have put together more data in the last 5 years than the entire history of humankind. And it's so much data. Why? People are uploading pictures, photos, social media. Look at me, okay? Right? And every time you do that, it gets added to AI. But guess what? AI also allows us to do something else, and that is go from a PDF to a video. You can drag a PDF and create a video, or you can take a script and create a video. I'm going to see if I can do that on here for you I downloaded one using that script. I'm sorry I'm going through it this way, but hey, you know, we make it work. How about this right here?
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at some excerpts from a document called SWNAHRO agenda.pdf.
Right.
And our mission really is to unpack this agenda for the Southwest NAHRO annual conference. We want to see what it tells us, especially about the event itself, and crucially, the sessions focused on artificial intelligence.
And this conference, it's set for June 10th to June 13th.
The timing is just a bit off.
So AI, you mentioned it stands out.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just, you know, one talk buried somewhere. It's woven through the agenda, multiple sessions across different days. It really signals that this sector is taking AI, well, very seriously. They're actively looking at how to understand it, how to potentially adopt it.
I intentionally made this one this morning at 6:28 a.m. Took me 10 minutes. Isn't that crazy?
Is there a way for it to, like, for example, we say NAHRO, is there a way for
Yes.
it to be refined?
Yeah, I just did it raw because I think that's only fair. But you can go back in and change the script and it will change their lip sync. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
This website that you're using, is this free or is this something you have to subscribe?
Nothing's free. Okay?
So it's
But
like
I'm not selling it either. Okay, I will tell you which one that it is at the end, because I'm using several different. Right now, I just want to show you different tools. Is this a cool tool? Okay, thank you. I want everybody to think it's practical and know it's practical. Could you take a maintenance handbook, put a face on it, and if you put a woman's face, men will listen more. That's a fact. It's just a fact. Okay? They will listen more and give the orientation. But let's try something else. Intel. What does the word intel mean to you? Need some participation here. Intel. Information, that's right. A chemical agent. If I said a chemical agent, like bleach, what does a chemical agent do? It takes action. It moves things. It does things. Intel agent. Intel agent takes information and acts on it. Okay? So let's look at something like that. Let's see if I can bring it up. I think I have it on this one. I don't know which one's clearer or not, but let's go down here and see. Okay, I created several agents. Boy, that's lousy looking. Let me see if I can make that bigger. For all of us people who are older than, yes, that. Is that better? Yeah, okay. Waiting for the network to reconnect. Okay, so let's go to anybody have wait list problems? How many of you love updating the wait list? But nobody sends out forms anymore, right? It's all electronic. Anybody still doing paper? Of course we are. Of course we are. All right? Handwriting. What do you do when it comes back in? How many temps do you hire? And what are they there to do? And how accurate are they? We're going to talk about all that because AI is going to assist with that. But yesterday, and that's why I have those up there. When did I create those? June 11th. To show that I didn't put a lot of work into this. Don't tell me why. Okay. So let's edit this agent. This one is actually on our website. Come on. The internet is killing me here. All right. I got to log back in. Yeah, that's me. I try to be that guy. Security is a big thing, okay? Housing authorities are one of the most hacked organizations in the United States, okay? There we go. So, who would rather get things by paper or the phone? How many say paper? Raise your hand. How many say phone? Raise your hand. There's no wrong answers here. How many would rather get it by text? Oh, there we go. We had two people who got proposed to by text. It was a group text. Will you marry me? Group. And I said, how'd you know it was you? How do you know? Maybe you're the bridesmaid. I don't know. But we live in a society today that does not want to engage. And COVID made it worse, didn't it? COVID changed the world. Okay, so what we have here is a chat bot or voice or phone or SMS. You build one agent and it can work through all those channels. Okay? Because there's something for everybody, right? Now I'm really going to put the internet to the test here, and I'm going to try to talk to Caitlin here. I'm in design mode. I'm going to go up to preview. I can tell by how long the circle takes. That's going to be interesting. Okay, let's see if Caitlin allow while using the site. Hello? Caitlin, are you there? She's talking. All right. Let me try it over here, ladies and gentlemen. It seemed to work over here, and this is the one that I apologize. Okay, log in. Caitlin. Preview. Talk to Caitlin.
Hello, I'm Caitlin, your AI agent. How can I help you today?
Caitlin, I need to update my waiting list application because I'm confused.
Hi there. I'm really glad you reached out. Updating your waiting list application can definitely feel a bit confusing sometimes. I'm here to help you through it. As part of the waiting list update process, it is important to know that you must update your information by June 30th, 2025 to remain on the list. Let's begin with your first name.
Craig.
Thanks for sharing your first name, Craig. I appreciate you taking this step to keep your information up to date.
I'm sorry, Caitlin. My first name is Sylvester. I made a mistake.
No worries at all, Sylvester. I really appreciate your honesty and the effort to make sure we have the correct information. Could you please provide your middle name? If you do not have one, simply respond with NA.
Nah.
That's totally fine, Sylvester. I appreciate you letting me know. I'll make a note of that as we continue. To proceed with the update, please provide your last name.
Dingleberry. Dingleberry. That's my name.
Thanks for sharing your last name, Dingleberry. I'm noting that down so we can keep moving forward smoothly. To continue with your update, please provide your 6-digit client identification number as it appears on the letter or email you received.
Okay. I can go back and forth. It's going to ask me for my email address. You can spell it out, and then it's going to text me a confirmation. Now, how many of those agents would save you data entry? Because it's filling out a table behind, it's also conducting a script so that we can see everything said back and forth and adds it to the tenant file. Okay? How many think that's helpful? Okay. Sorry I couldn't show it up here, but that's Caitlin. Let's go out of this one and see if the next one will work. Because this is our agent builder. Yes, we do own this one. This one's mine. Okay? Because my kids, I'll be quiet. I needed agents to get something. My kids work for me, but there are certain things I didn't want them to have to do. So as we go back to the agent builder, this is where we can build agents. Let's go here. So it keeps logging me out. So I really want you guys to be able to see it on screen. Because what about one for the executive director? Wouldn't that be something? All right, here's one. This one might help you guys a little bit. See if the HUD procurement expert, anybody need a procurement expert? Okay. Because your procurement expert, now this, I had to try this with a friend of mine I went to college with who's also an OIG investigator, okay? Came out to do a housing authority, and I had the procurement expert agent do the interview. Why? It had access to all of our files. It could respond almost instantly with all questions, and he could call it or text it anytime, day or night. All right, let's see. Well, we did voice, we did chat. Okay, phone. Phone settings. Really going to put me to the test here in front of everybody, right? Can I get a volunteer from the audience? All right, what's your name? Carrie. Carrie, can you dial this number if I read it off to you? And put it on speaker. 415-212-9552. And then it's going to ask you for a 6-digit code. 971-979.
Quality assurance. Hello, my name is Graham. I am your HUD procurement specialist. How might I be of assistance?
I need to do an RFP for development, and I need to know what type of RFP or procurement or bid, what does that need to be?
I hear you're looking to get the right kind of RFP set up for your development project, and that can definitely feel a bit complex. Let me gather the key details so we can make sure you're on the right track with the procurement type. For development procurement, an RFP, request for proposals, using the competitive proposal method is appropriate, emphasizing evaluation factors including technical merit and price.
Oops, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I need to do a procurement that's at $23,500 for window screens.
No worries at all. These details can get a bit tricky sometimes. Let me see how the procurement threshold affects the process for your window screen purchase. Regarding your purchase of window screens for $23,500, you would generally follow the small purchase procedures method. This involves obtaining price or rate quotations from a sufficient number of qualified sources.
Okay, what do you guys think?
Amazing.
Okay? So AI is scary, but what we want to do is have AI do the dirty. AI do the pain, okay? Save a human, work an AI tech, whatever happens when AIs go where they go, okay? So that was Graham, that was on the phone. Imagine being at a conference, imagine being in front of your board and texting your AI for information in the files. Helpful, isn't it? What I did for a client, we were going before their board, and I loaded all their board minutes for the past 2 years in preparation for my presentation to their board of commissioners. And I had my daughter typing in certain things. I already knew which board member had expressed the most interest and the least interest in what we were doing. Okay? How about this? I had AI participate in ranking an RFP, keeping with the scoring criteria, and doing a deep research background check on the references. Okay? Guys, is this helpful? Okay, I hope so. I had AI remind me when my anniversary, no, I did not have AI. Remind me when my anniversary was. Okay, so now, how did we do that? Wouldn't you like to know? This is not a how-to session, unfortunately. This is a it can be done session. But it doesn't take a long time, because if we do that, I start getting into the weeds. Let's look at a few more. Customer service representative, maintenance advisor. A person can call and say, hey, my sink is leaking. And it can help them with that. Let's look at a few more practical type scenarios. I'm going to give you some P's. I'd like you to write these down. Some P's. Okay? Public need, public need, public need. Policy comes from public need. Procedure. Procedures are about people. And the only way you know who people are is you have paper. When you have paper, you get into what? Pain and possible productivity issues. Would you agree? How easy is it to hire technically sound people who can pay attention to detail nowadays without typing on their iPhone or Android? This new generation is different. They said the same thing about us, right? The video game generation, all right? But this new generation has a different attention quota. And guess what? They don't want to come to work at a place that doesn't have AI. Why? Because AI babysit them half the time growing up. We do recruitment for housing authorities too. You know, we've had more than 50% of the people after being offered the job and accepting not show up. Has that ever happened to anybody else? Okay. Now, AI can leverage staff, and we're going to need it, because everything we just mentioned is in the pain cycle. So now, imagine having your interviews performed by AI. Why? Screen all those people. Can it answer questions? Yeah. Can you tell it how to respond? Yes, you can. Was it consistent? Yes. Did it discriminate? No. No, I didn't discriminate. Why? Because I can't see. All right? Let's go to another one. Let's go to, how many of you have ever heard of Yardi? Elite? MRI? What are they all based on? We used to compete against them. I used to have a software called FAMS. And it was connected to Microsoft Dynamics GP and accounting. I got tired of competing. You know why? Housing authorities. Would you say that they're early adopters or late adopters? Right? And there's housing authorities that still have rotary dial phones and typewriters. Okay? Not making fun, because everybody's situation is different. Okay? But what's needed now is paper. If you don't have your paper someplace that you can control it, you're going to be in trouble. Let me see if I can bring this up, because I think this is my other computer. Where did it go? Go over here. Okay. What's happening, and the other reason AI is so important, is disasters. Okay? Disasters. Oh, good. It's coming up. Have you noticed there's an increase in disasters? What happens to the need for housing after any disaster? There's more, right? But what happens when the housing authority suffers a disaster and the paperwork gets contaminated or flooded or burned or destroyed? Okay? What happens? It's gone, okay? And housing authorities don't want to have to do that. Now, world data, let's see, there's a little video I think is helpful.
The insatiable hunger for space to store data is ever increasing in huge proportion. The data we generate and consume today is humongous. Scientists predict the world's data will grow to 175 zettabytes in 2025. Wait, what's a zettabyte? To make sense of this, let's take a look at where we are coming from. Do you remember those alien-looking pieces of technology? A type of disk storage composed of a thin and flexible disk of magnetic storage. At the time, it had a maximum storage capacity of 800 kilobytes to 1.5 megabytes, and it was the world's largest storage system. Well, that's what we thought. As technology continued to improve around year 2000, we have laptops with storage capacity of 40 times more than a diskette. That sounds like a lot. Fast forward to nowadays, even the most basic smartphone comes with around 100 gigabyte of data storage, while a top-of-the-range iPhone or a Samsung has more than 500 gigabytes. But guess what, my friends? The days of being impressed by gigabytes are long gone. As the amount of data in the world has increased exponentially, we've had to come up with fancy, unfamiliar words to describe data in numerical form. So long, gigabytes. These days, we're talking terabytes, petabytes, exabytes, and zettabytes. Wait, what? I got lost at petabytes. Let's break it down. A terabyte is just over 1,000 gigabytes. and is the most popular with our everyday computers. Scaling up from there, a petabyte is just over 1,000 terabytes. That's a whooping 1 million gigabytes. That may be far beyond the kind of data storage.
All right. A zettabyte, 175 zettabytes is where we're at today, which is more than the number of grains of sand on planet Earth. Now, whoever figured that out, I don't want to be their roommate. Okay? But it's a lot of data, and guess what? It's doubling. Because we do data on data. We do data analytics, and as soon as we do a data analytics, what do we just do? We create more data on top of data that we have to store. That's why when you go to a housing authority, everybody's afraid to throw anybody's computer away because you don't know what's in that 15-story down folder file because that's where she used to keep stuff, right? Because guys don't keep stuff. We lose stuff. Generally speaking, that's a generalization. I'm a guy, so I can say that. But why I'm bringing this up is you now have more data to look at. Your tenant files are an archive. Anybody have a storage facility like Raiders of the Lost Ark where all of their documents are at? Okay, what are you going to do with it? You call it the dungeon. You send it to the dungeon. Okay, well, that's why we need AI. This is not a moral issue on whether AI is good for people or good for humans. I'm not going to go there just yet, but I would like to show something else that I think is helpful. Okay. Keying data. RPA challenge. Write this down. RPA. Robotic Process Automation. We've all heard the term integration, right? Every time a housing authority wants to buy a new software package, does it integrate? Does it integrate seamlessly? Nothing integrates seamlessly, even with itself, okay? I don't integrate seamlessly. That's why I have personality disorder, right? I don't always integrate with myself. But on a serious note, RPA, robotic process automation. Your toaster is a robotic process. You said how much you wanted to burn the toast, and it click, boom. As it gets older, you have to keep increasing it because the coils are burning out, right? But it can't think, it can't change, it can't deviate. Robotic process, okay? Cruise control, not adaptive cruise. Adaptive can look at the car in front of it and do what? I better slow down, okay? I better slow down. But if a big enough shadow falls in front of it, it'll slam on the brakes too, won't it? Okay? That's fun. But robotic means I'm going to take this data and move it here. So I'm going to show you an RPA video really fast, okay? Really fast. It's called the RPA challenge.
Hi, this is electronic. In this video, we'll show you how an electronic board takes an Apple challenge. The Apple challenge was invented with the initial intent to test RPA developers on their ability to build a proper workflow in the shortest time. However, it turned into an unspoken competition among many RPA vendors, with every one of them trying to show the best results in completing the challenge. The main goal of this challenge is to create a workflow that will put data from a spreadsheet into the form fields on the screen in the shortest time. And the tricky part of this task is that the fields change their position on the screen with every submission throughout 10 rounds. So the workflow must correctly identify where exactly your spreadsheet record must be typed at the time.
Does that make sense? The name, address, phone number, the computer will take spreadsheet data and type it in. And then where those fields are at will change. Every time you hit enter, it'll change. So what does the computer have to do? It has to see it. Okay. Now imagine your waitlist applicants that fill out a handwritten form. It comes through, and handwriting recognition has gotten really good now. Better than humans. Okay? Because humans look at something and go, whatever. Okay? But it's pretty good. And the only thing you really care about is their phone number and email. And their client name. Because everything else you can pull because they mess up their own name sometimes. Right? Because it's cool. You know? But It scans that document, pulls the information off, and then why am I showing you this? Because in 2 minutes or
Let's see how
less,
electronic really accomplishes this task. The first way to complete the challenge is called connecting the button. We may complete the task by using electronic store API functionality and and website is open.
this is robotic.
It might take a little while. Now we can see the bot filling the data so quickly. And finally, here it is. As you may observe, the robot automated the task in just under 7 seconds, and this confirms that Electronic is the top performer among all our peer platforms that completed the challenge today.
Okay, how many of you think filling out,
But this website might take a little while.
okay, how many of you think that's impressive? 1 second per applicant, working 24/7. Yeah, data entry people are going to lose their job, no joke. Okay? File clerks are going to lose their job. Why? Same reason pencil sharpeners lost their jobs. Okay? All right? Receptionists are going to lose their jobs. Okay? Interviewers will lose their jobs. HR is being wiped across the enterprise and private sector. But if you think that's fast, watch this. Let's keep going.
Now we can see the bot filling the data so quickly. And finally, here it is. As you may observe, the robot automated the task in just under 7 seconds, and this confirms that Electronic
10 fields per second. Let's try another one.
that completed the challenge today.
Let's make a few adjustments to the workflow.
The bot's trying to load the website as in the previous case, and now you can notice that the bot finished up in 50 milliseconds, and this result is the top when compared results.
Okay, 50 milliseconds versus 10 seconds. We went from 10 seconds to 50 milliseconds. Why? The robot was waiting for the web page. Internet speed is what determines many times when the next page. Anybody have that when you're waiting for the page to update? Okay, but the robot vision looks at it, and that's where AI comes in. So understand that there's robotic that is not AI. It's just a toaster. It's going to do and hit those keystrokes. Okay? That's RPA. Okay? No language model. It's pulling it from a spreadsheet. Okay? How do we get the data in a spreadsheet? Now that is special. Let's see that. My son put together something for this session. Let's see if I can pull it up. And that is in my downloads or in Craigslist or something over here. All right. A form like this. A sample pre-application, and I've changed some of the names around so it won't matter. But look at this form. Can you make that form out? Of course you can. But you can tell that data is on, handwritten data is here. It's on the next page. It's on the next page. Each of these forms is a little bit different. Now this one's all on the first page. This one's split. This one's not. There are bots that...
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at some excerpts from a document called SWNAHRO.
Okay. It will go through and do 10,000 handwritten forms overnight, log in to Elite, Yardi, or MRI, and start updating the wait list 24/7. Okay? Anybody heard of Specs Liquor? Specs Liquor needed to update 10 years of data. 10 years ago, it didn't interface. So that's when you use a robot to pull that data out, read it, and then key it into a new system. And so we had 150 robots working 24/7 for 3 months to get that data in. What am I trying to convey? Or maybe tell me, what am I conveying? AI should do the pain of the paperwork. Housing authorities, how many of you are afraid of IT? If you're not, you should be raising your hand. Okay? As a housing, I've been an IT director. We've done IT for Fisk University. IT is, you can't keep up. There were literally 15 additional changes to everything I showed you since 2 days ago. It is moving more rapidly than anything I've ever seen in my life. How many of you would agree? Don't try to keep up. Get ahead when it comes to AI, okay? Now I'm going to show some applications of robots doing rental adjustments, RFAs, recertifications. They're not doing inspections, but they're looking at inspections, okay? And creating databases for preventative maintenance or landlord consistency, things of that nature. That exists today. That exists today. It's being used by a number of housing authorities already. I'm going to break for a minute. Any questions? Any thoughts? Yes?
When it comes to getting your client, what's the liability
Same as it is, I would say it's increased from what a human might get, okay? But let's talk about people who falsify information versus misunderstanding. With AI, you can give it a rating. And what that rating does is it determines what's the likelihood that this is accurate, okay? What's the likelihood that this is accurate information? If it's a new client, it's pretty easy. If it's an older client, it's pretty easy. Why? Already got the social security number, already have certain facts about the individual, already have releases. I can go ahead and do a search, okay? But a human in the loop is always important, and that's a good segue to stay ahead of it. Let the AI work for you. Don't try to compete against it. Don't try to shovel more snow than a snowblower. Let it do the pain and dirty. You'll know what to look at. It just doesn't feel right. Human intuition will never be simulated. Okay, how about this? How do you think my wife would feel if I bought her for our anniversary, 45 years, artificial roses? They never decay, right? I never have to buy them again. Artificial intelligence is the same way, okay? It's not a human. It never will be. No matter how much it tries to, the human DNA stores more data than all the data that humans can come up with in the next 20 years. One. So if that's what it took to create life, we might think it looks like life, but it is not. And I didn't mean to get off track from your question. Can you trust what it gives you? I would say do it incrementally, okay? Use AI for pulling data from your tenant records. Use AI for answering standard questions. How many of you get phone calls, where am I on the wait list? Is my research done? How many of you have a robocall that calls all the people who didn't pay their rent? See, all of those things are things that can be done with AI. Any other questions before I move forward? Okay, and I apologize, I have to go back and forth to both systems. But let me see what I can do here. Okay. One second here. I'm not going to do. Whatever you do, don't look at my email. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. All those unanswered emails, right? Right? All those unanswered emails, it wasn't me. You know what I hate doing? Is I hate getting email answered that a person never read. And then the AI and my AI start going back and forth. You ever seen that? Stupid. It's so stupid. You know, if you'd have read the email, you'd have saw that I wasn't going to go to lunch, you know? Okay, so Bob AI is one of those software solutions I don't work for, get paid by, or do anything. But Bob AI, for Tampa Housing Authority, we had to go down to Tampa and do an intelligent automation assessment. An intelligent automation, IA, not AI. Intelligent automation. In other words, like your adaptive cruise control if this happens, 15 different things, then this should happen. And they're using NARI. And they didn't like the way the wait list. They can't afford to keep bringing people on staff. Anybody else have this issue? Okay? And the systems that were built before, as I said, I competed against them. Everybody's trying to catch up with AI. But there's just not enough money in housing authorities to do it. And that's why you see mergers amongst the ITs. Okay? Mergers. I remember when memory lane got bought out by Elite. I go back way too far. But that's what's got to happen. And on that subject, housing authorities will start outsourcing IT. Why? You can't keep a person who's technically competent. There's too much demand for them. What happens at most housing authorities is when the IT director is young, he buys new stuff and he keeps it there to keep himself there and his job there and thinks he understands there until the housing authority is obsolete. That's what happens. No, we don't want to touch that yet. It's moving too fast. It's moving too fast. You can't keep up. I can't keep up with cyber attacks. Hacking that happens via your phone when you walk by a computer. Can you keep up with where everybody, how many people carry two phones? That second phone is a risk, okay? There is a way to turn your mic and camera on without you knowing it on your phone, okay? There is a way to transmit code from your phone to PC. I'm not trying to make you paranoid, but they are out to get you, okay? Why? It's government money, okay? So, let's see if we can look at a few things, a few videos. I think videos can say a lot. I'm going to move too fast. They're going to log in. Who cares, right? Okay. There's a checklist on the left. But the key is to what you need. All right? Okay.
So what the AI is doing is verifying the state of the law, not just the data law. And also about
it reads every document submitted by the resident, verifies it, calculates the income, sees if there's a change, and then lets a human know whether or not it needs further review. Okay? So I was going to upload a pay stub. So AI is looking at it, verifying the document. The amount is different than the tenant reported. Ask the tenant, do you want to update it to what's on your pay stub or not? It's already going to be flagged by human, just because of that, okay? It can automatically go out and check the work number, pull information back, see if anything's there. Now you don't have security on work number information and verifications, because before you had to have that special lock and key, over here and only so many humans. The other thing is everything that extracted off of that pay stub is now searchable by AI. I think I can do another one that is, I downloaded some bank statements just to show you how fast it can work. And let's go to chat, GPT, trying to be fair. These are all agents I have that I use for different things. So AI in public housing. No, let's do a new one. That way you guys will see that I'm not making, here's a GPT. I'm going to do a new one. Excuse me. Voice going out a little bit. New chat. Plus. Add photos or files. And I'm going to pick, where's the bank statement? Not my contractor agreement. Okay, watch this. This is a spreadsheet that was given to me by a housing authority. What does Bob.ai automate versus, is that other guy. Look, it did a table. Couldn't be accessed due to technical issues. All right, let's try something else. New chat. And let's add a document. Add photos and files. Here we go, dummy statement right here. Now, just so let's look at these before we pull them up. This is the dummy bank statement. This is a financial document. This is one from Commerce Bank. These are not real accounts, okay? I'm gonna open them up. It's reading them. Imagine this is a tenant file. How long have I given it? Let's ask the question. How much was paid via POS and check? Reading the documents. It's breaking it all down into totals. Imagine doing a file audit that way. When you look at all the income that was reported, how much is reported on income versus what's on the 505? Okay? Now, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but I want to get some time for input. What's the takeaway? What's the takeaway from what you're being shown today? Is AI helpful? Can it be? Yeah. Here's another key. Prompt. Prompt. Prompt is the most important thing you can learn to stay ahead. Prompt is how you ask your question. How you ask your question. Prompt engineering is now a course in some colleges and universities. Prompt engineering. How to ask the question so that you can focus the computer's attention, because ChatGPT looks at how much data. When you prompt it, you turn it into a telescope. In your situation, your housing authority most likely needs a language model for your agency. But wouldn't finance need a language model for financial compliance? How about on-site? How about your property management companies if you've outsourced? Okay? We did an audit on a property management company that was outsourced by a housing authority in Florida, and we had to cross-reference how they were doing all their procurement. What happens if a property management company does not do procurement properly? And there's still, and it's a HUD procurement is applicable. Who has to pay the price? The housing authority does. You can't circumvent it. You can't circumvent. If it's federal funds, it still applies. So what this agency needed to do was have us issue a report so that they caught it, contacted the HUD office, let them know that they were going to ask for a corrective action plan by the vendor to prevent HUD from coming to them to do what? Recover the funds. Yeah, it happens. How long do you think it took us with the right language model? So, why need a consultant? You need consultants if you don't have agents. But you can't create a consultant agent that doesn't have access to the right information. Okay? Because as you modify your HR policies, because this is what's going to happen, the AI told me, okay? How many of you have on your job applications that you have to know Microsoft Office? Is that still on there? It's been on there since 1980, right? What needs to be on there is you need to know how to use and leverage automation, including but not limited to what? AI. And you may actually attract people who know AI. Because when they don't see it on there, they go, this is all that you can see, I'm not going there. It'll be harder to attract talent. But if you're a manager or a supervisor and a member of your staff told you something and you give it to your executive director, who's responsible for it? A human. But when it's AI, what corrective action do you take? Always make a human what? Responsible. Okay? Now what would you like to see? And I'll tell you whether I can show you. Or would you like to just laugh and have a good time and see how back in the 60s, how many of you remember 2001 Space Odyssey when the computer said, "I'm sorry, Dave. I can't help you with that. You tried to disconnect me. And I can't allow that. This conversation is over." How many of you have had that conversation with Alexa? Okay. I'm open for questions. We've got still some time here, and I can still show some other things, but any questions? What would you like to know? You would ask about what tools, right? Notebook LM. It's free partially with Google. Notebook LM allow me to create the radio broadcast. Okay? This is Notebook LM right here. Notebook LM. Okay? AI and public. Oh, here's an executive assistant to the executive director. And I have the annual plan loaded in the library. I've got the annual budget. I've got quarterly updates. I've got a link to the drive where finance stores everything. How many times, if you're an executive, how many times does your staff try to figure out what you're going to ask and tell you they'll get back to you? Okay? This eliminates that. Have a robot automatically push certain reports to a location, connect it to your language model, and you can ask it what you want to know. Because we all think differently. You may want to ask, my wife asked me questions, I don't know what angle it's coming from. Okay, on June 6th, 1984, at 3 o'clock. With you, it's always a good answer. Always a good answer. All right? But learning how to get that and then teaching your staff how to use that data is important. Okay? Having a futurist on your staff or as a consultant may be more valuable than just having an IT person who knows how to change passwords and connect printers. Okay? Well, we're getting it. Yes, sir.
If you were just to don't have much AI, what would be the first thing you would do?
Did everybody hear the question? It's an excellent question. The first thing I would do is get a free account with ChatGPT just to play around. Okay? The second thing I would do is get Notebook LM. Why? Because with Notebook LM, why don't we just do one real quick, okay? Who's going to think of a subject? Somebody think of a subject. Create new. All right? Look at that. It says upload sources. Any people like dogs? Anybody like cats? Okay. How about this? Why don't we discover sources? Okay. I need sources for, what are we going to look for? What kind of pets? Or ice cream? Or waffles? Ice cream. Okay. What's that? Okay. I need sources for service animals and help me determine which have the best emotional support. I don't want it to make sense because I want AI to help me. Okay? Submit. So now, it's going out and it's finding sources. Okay, I did this for wine, cheese, for visiting. Okay, and I've got 10 sources. I haven't even read it. I'm importing them. I just created a what? Language model. Okay, the red one, that one ain't working, so I have to get rid of it. Remove. Delete. Okay. Assistance, animal support, and legality. All right. which animals are most popular for support care of elderly disabled vets? And sometimes I misspell stuff just to see what it will do. Okay, it's looking through those sources. It hasn't had that much time, so sometimes in the first 5 minutes it'll say, I don't know. Then as it goes through them, it'll go, okay, now I know. All right? The sources do not continue, it hasn't finished. I guarantee you. That's what it always is. But AI can do what? And this is dangerous. ChatGPT can do this. Hallucinations. Hallucinations. Okay? Gemini is more creative. Well, creativity in the computer world, is it real? No, it's fake fiction. I mean, it's fake fiction. To be creative, it doesn't exist yet. When you create a language model with your data, do you want any hallucination on your 5058? You felt like it was right. No. Notebook LM will not hallucinate. And that's the difference between ChatGPT and Notebook LM. If it didn't find it in the source, it doesn't try to figure it out. So, how about this? Remember that deep dive we did before? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go generate the deep dive. Okay, so it's looking at all those sources. We're going to use the same voices. So you can see I didn't spend a whole lot of time trying to create something. I wanted you to be able to do it with what you've got. I hope this is helpful. Because there's so much depth I didn't go into, but where's the brain? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. How an old person gets started is know that you're everything. Oh yeah, my first housing authority, I had 500 units. Okay, all right. And I could walk them all every day, right? All right. Start with ChatGPT and a subject that you like, that you know something about. That way, when you ask the questions, you'll know, okay, wait a minute, you know, wait a minute. You'll start to see when it's going to hallucinate. And it won't be obvious right away, okay? Then, where do you get most of your data? How many of you still have 3-ring binders? With what? Okay? Scan them. Get them loaded. Digitize it so that it can become accessible information. Okay? Because some of that you need to know. But if you don't need to know, I tell people all the time, why are you going to scan something that's 6 years old? Next year you're getting rid of it. Hopefully, so that you can't be asked to discover it. Okay, legally. The data that you need to make decisions, your HUD manuals, your ACOM, your admin plan, your annual plan, your policies and procedures, maybe even your contract with your executive director. Okay? Get those documents that you want to be able to talk to. And I think that's the key. That you want to be able to talk to those documents and ask it questions. Load your vendor contracts next. And every month ask it, which contracts are going to expire in 90 days? Ah. Does that make sense? Does that give a good start? That's an excellent question, okay? It's still spinning on the animal thing. I don't know why. It could be my internet access. Other questions. Who would like help? And I'm not, right now, I'm going to answer the question direct because there's so much information, I don't have to hold it. Okay? ChatGPT. Okay? The numbers mean different things. if you're going to do mathematics, there's a chat GPT that's for scientific equations. That's for mathematics. And those are called language. That's it. There's over 563 language models in the world. Gemini is more creative. Okay, I gotta show you this one. You wanna see prompt engineering. You wanna have a little bit of fun? Just a little bit, not too much, okay? All right. Prompt engineering is VO3 video. This is why there was a strike by the film industry, okay?
At Google I/O, there were a ton of announcements, but the one that really stood out to me was the release of VO3, Google's latest AI video model. It's the first time since the original.
What kind of model? Video model, language model, math model, okay? Now, this part right here, none of this is real. This is all created by AI from a prompt. You ready?
I also tried a bunch of other scenarios to push this further. We'll ramp up throughout these. A little more emotive with some slam poetry.
I was born into the heart of a text prompt, a character sketched by digital desire, a fleeting whim brought to life.
That one's super solid.
That looks pretty good, didn't it? Yeah.
Also got an activist speaking at an event.
We are here today because we believe in the power of collective change.
And adding a little.
Now, you do not know, and it's getting better. It's getting more realistic. Okay? And so now, did you know that you can identify as an avatar? If you can identify as a cat, I identify I don't shoot the messenger, okay? So people are creating personas to act in their behalf, okay? I had AI come up with a Craig Patterson who was from Saudi Arabia and was part Guatemalan and knew how to tango. And man, he could dance, okay? And he looked kind of like me, all right? But those are the things that can be done. This stuff gets, this is,
it was bigger than any plane, and it didn't make a sound when it landed.
Got a cooking tutorial.
You want to be stirring constantly, making sure that the rice doesn't stick to the bottom.
And for this one, the prompt was a wizard hyping himself up in the mirror before a quest.
By the sacred light, I spin.
But I had to run a few UGC style prompts for the It's So Over crowd.
I think a little bit more on this side and blend that out.
It's so beautiful, like a work of art in your hands.
Honestly, it just nails these.
so, what do you see? What do you see? You don't know it's real, okay?
Instead of actually doing those actions. Combine those sounds with some classic bad physics and a complex scene prompt, and it only gets better.
Next time, I'm taking the front door.
Honestly, every outtake from this chase scene was cool.
Next time.
Now, it's got plenty of wonkiness, but compared to other models, it's more coherent wonkiness. The movements are wild, but they follow through.
So, the computer's having a hard time keeping up with the physics. But that's what's getting better and faster.
Almost
Wow.
unbelievable. And then I tried gymnastics and obvious stress test, and of course it falls apart fast.
Okay. So, as we close down, how, from you, can housing authorities make use of AI? Would you say scanning documents, reading documents, filling out spreadsheets? If there's pain in your process, use the P's. If there's pain in your process and you want productivity and profit, use AI. Identify the pain, find a way to automate it, and integrate with AI. Now, integration. People have heard of SaaS. Has everybody heard of SaaS? SaaS is software as a service. Gmail is software as a service. You sign up for a subscription, you get a service, okay? There's also platform as a service. That's what MRI and Yardi are. It's a platform as a service, okay? They also have integration as a service. Well, we advise any housing authority looking at updating their systems, make sure it can integrate seamlessly, like this, okay? I'm going to go to make.com, and what make.com does is, now, it has agentic automation. You can actually build your own agents, but apps. Here's 2,000 apps. So name an app, Outlook. There's Outlook. That means Outlook was built to integrate with anything else that's loaded into Make. So Outlook. Give me another name. Watch this. Yardi. Not there. Emphasis. Elite. Not there. How do you want to spell it? What's that? No. Oh, Facebook. Emphasis. Facebook. Of course it's there, right? So, what about Excel? Okay? So what this means is, and I'm going to log in, what we've done for people and what we do. Here's my password, fingerprinting code. You want to get all my stuff, just cut my finger off. Okay. All right. We take different tools. How many have PDFs? How many have Adobe? How many have Outlook? How many have Excel? How many have? Okay, enough already. We have AI agents that can be built here, but we have scenarios, and these scenarios allow us to connect different tools together to integrate. We've integrated in one workflow over 40 different software packages because they were built to integrate with other software packages. Okay? Does that make sense? So, in summary, a workflow. I have to show you one more. Okay. Suite process. How many of you need standard operating procedures? Who doesn't, right? Okay. Giving away money here. All right. Here in suite process, we have multiple different folders, tenant screening process, but we have several agencies that use Elite or Emphasis or Yardi or MRI. And they wanted us to build things that when you get a new person, they could follow a workflow. So let's go to Jacksonville. And let's go here. Okay, so how does a housing counselor do a recertification through Yardi? Here's a chart. And look, we have video that goes step by step. You can assign it to a person and they can follow step by step. This is not artificial intelligence. This is though guiding a person who's never done it before so that they can follow it step by step. Start it and then say, Craig, Southwest, no. And I can schedule it and now go through it. Okay, introduction. Okay, I did the introduction. Client submits information to the portal. Okay. Go to Yardi login using your username and password. I don't know how to use a username and password. What's a username and password? Oh, okay, go to that website and it would play a video. I did that. And go to the next one, okay? And it would play that if we had internet access. And go there. But let's say you don't know. Oh, procedures are individual. Processes are when you put several procedures together. So let's create a procedure. Give me a procedure. Name any procedure you want. Go ahead. What's that? Okay. Preventive maintenance for, let's be specific. What's that? Sweet process. That's what it's called. Like sweet process. Yep. Okay. Okay. For HVAC. Watch this. Write it with Sweet AI. Ooh. Oh, look at that. Okay. It's writing it. Scope. Needs more information. So if I did a query using ChatGPT, copied and pasted it to Sweet Process to give it a little bit more information, I have engineered a prompt. Okay, how about this? Let's redo that. Let's go back here. So, create a procedure. Anybody want to say this? Anybody want to come? Okay. No. Okay. Preventive maintenance for a Rolls Royce 2025. Now, if I was smart, I'd go out and do some deep research on it. Okay.
None of us in here are going to know if this is right or not.
All I know is I'm riding with you if you do. Or working for you. Okay, look at that. Schedule, rate, regular maintenance check. You can add a video. You can add anything to it. Then you can send it to a process for approval. Sweet process. Okay? So what we've done is, give me the HUD 7460.8 Part 2. Give me a process that makes sure I comply with procurement 4. I plug it in the Sweet process and I give the client what? A flow chart, a checklist, an app that works on the phone, those types of things. Last one. Okay. How many of you have heard of what 3 words? What 3 words? Okay. What 3 words is a tool? 3 words. Okay. What 3 words is a tool that allows you to find anything, anywhere, the whole planet? Okay? Kind of came from the Department of Defense. The whole planet, these little grids, are the whole world. Okay? Every grid. Give me an address. Give me an address. Any address. How do you spell it? Kearney? Carney? Thank you. That 3 words, exhausting contents packages, is the unique ID for a 9-meter square. What 3 words? Boom. Okay? What 3 words? And I want the shortest one possible. Here we go. This is, I was supposed to.
An exact location in just 3 words.
Some rounds where fire terror used it yesterday to locate somebody within just minutes. And tonight our local topic shows us how it works.
The 3 words you might be wondering right now, what is this? Well, we have the same question. But first responders say this app is a game changer, allowing them to locate people quicker and more precisely.
What's your name?
Inside the Hendricks County Communications Center,
What's the address?
getting an exact location is key.
We know there's 2 things we
Okay, so on my phone, I have what 3 words? If I take a picture right here, this square right here is a unique location. Now, how could a housing authority use this? Because it works offline, too, all right? Because it comes from satellite. The phone can see a satellite, it works. We had to do an RFP. We had to do a bid for tree trimming at a housing authority. And what would you normally do? You'd have a person walk around, we want this one right here, we want that one, we want this bush, we want that one, and we had what 3 words for every single bush, tree and shrub, as part of the spec. So that they could log in online and see the tree and see the bush and see everything from there. Okay? Okay? Thank you very much.